Hi, welcome to day 30. We are officially 2 weeks away from the ending of this project. 2 weeks, last 2 weeks. So I'm in Andrew's art studio right now. It's another room we have in the house that's usually his art studio, but it's also where we have like a spare bed. My mom's visiting, she's staying in this room. And the windows are open and they're not usually open like this. And oh my God, the view is so beautiful. I'm like looking out at this beautiful sky with white clouds, and the blue is so blue and deep, and you can see the mountains and the trees, and oh, I never noticed how nice the view is from this room before. So that's kind of a nice thing about changing routines and perspective and vantage points, because then you get to see new things. And yeah, I'd never seen this before, so it looks really nice in here. Anyways, day 30. Let's do this. Beautiful. I love this card. It says, the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. I'm just going to savor this for a moment. Yeah, that's nice. That is nice. So a couple points come up for this. The first one is the ever unfolding rose. I started to see my life like that, as like this constant like blooming, like something opening up on itself, but like a continual like opening. So it's like it just keeps opening and opening. There's a pattern I saw on TikTok where they're like doing videos about this particular type of like pattern that just keeps like opening. It's like as you zoom in, it's kind of like how the cosmos are. So it's like you go all the way out as far as you can go into the cosmos, and then you go back in, and it's just like everything keeps getting like smaller and smaller, but it's like bigger and bigger. I don't know what it's called. I'll have to look into it. I'll put a text here on what I'm referring to, but it's just this constant like opening of like this constant replenishing, this constant like fountain, this constant like opening and blooming, but it's like constant. There's no end to it, right? I'm starting to look at my life like that, or I started to have that image kind of come through in terms of how I was looking at reality and my experience, and how I can be more deliberate in what I'm creating as my life and as me. And so the ever unfolding rose, that's kind of how it was. It was like a rose blooming, but like there was an infinite amount of like, it doesn't end. I don't know how else to say it. Do you get what I mean? I hope so. But that's cool. So cracked open, it's happening for you, not to you. So that's the first part I kind of just saw, and I wrote this poem. It's called The Giver, and it's kind of related to that in terms of seeing where this like this fountain of well-being exists, this like eternalness. You know, it's like tapping into this idea of like where this replenishment state of life is, and it's within me, and I don't really know what that means or where that comes from, or I just started to realize and relate to this point of like there's this innerness within me that is potentially ever giving. And yeah, maybe I've spoken too soon about it because I'm not really sure what it means, and I'm still applying ideas that and realizations I've come to and insights I've come to. I'm still walking it and applying it, so maybe I shouldn't share anymore. But just seeing that there is a source of well-being that exists within me, and it's like that point of I don't have to look outside of myself for something to fulfill me. There is a fulfillment within me. There is a self-sustaining aspect of life. And this is what I'm looking to tap into and to understand and to live and apply. And so that's kind of what this card represents for me. The ever unfolding rose, ever unfolding. It's like never ending, the everlasting, the eternity. And then this part of it's happening for you, not to you. That was a big realization for me in my life, is that shift of I am not a victim to my circumstance. Things, I mean, it really is about how you look at things. You know, it's like if you feel like the world is happening to you, then you're always going to think that like you're a victim. It's this idea that like you're not responsible for your life in any way, and then things just happen by chance, and then you're a victim to circumstance, and which some people are, you know, obviously this world doesn't give everyone an equal starting point, but for those of us with money, those of us that are the elite, those of us that are, you know, getting by, there is an element of responsibility that we have in terms of realizing that the world doesn't just happen to us. We're not victims to our life. We're not victims to other people. We're not victims to our circumstance unless we allow that to be true. Like that's what I'm looking at too and playing with is like our beliefs, what we believe in, what we believe to be true really does form what we see and what our experience is and how we interpret reality. And, you know, if you were to change your beliefs and change your understanding and change your limitations to things that weren't so limiting, and where you were like, you know, like for me, a big shift in my life was when I stopped being the victim, or I stopped the understanding that I'm not a victim, and I started applying the realization that I'm self-responsible for everything, for who I am in relation to everything, that I am not a victim in any way whatsoever. Once I started doing that, the amount of empowerment that I accessed within myself was remarkable. And not saying that it's not easy to break that victimization programming, because I still walk through it sometimes. I still, like the video I had the other day where it wasn't flowing, it wasn't working out, and I had to stop. It was a perfect storm scenario. Immediately I looked, who can I blame? Who can I blame for this? When it's like there's nobody to blame. There's only self-responsibility. There's responsibility, you know, and it's like if I take responsibility for everything that's happening, then I'm never a victim, and I'm never caught off guard. I'm never a sucker to chance. I am always deliberate. Like even now as I'm saying this, I'm realizing the limitation I was seeing within responsibility, whereas like if I took responsibility for everything, how far does that realization go for you? Because it's like then nothing is off limits in terms of, you know, if I take responsibility for everything, then I'm in a position to understand everything, and I'm in a position to know and get to know everything and to know things intimately. If I stand responsible for everything as me, then I become me as everything. You know, there's just this point of like, you know, there is power within responsibility. If you're willing to take responsibility and not be a victim and not have anyone to blame, then you become very empowered. And I'm very excited at the moment because I'm realizing I had placed a limit on responsibility, or my extent to understanding and realizing what self-responsibility means. It goes much further. I'm realizing it goes much further. So my approach to life now these days is that everything is specifically designed for me to understand myself. Everything is me, you know, I do believe that. Everything that is outside of me is a reflection of who I am. It's a reflection of me, what's within me. And so every person becomes a part of me. Every animal is a part of me. Everything that I see, every space I encounter, every interaction I have, it's for me to support me to realize who I really am, which is all as one as equal. We're all the same thing, individualized and you know, seemingly separate, but actually all from the same pool, and we're just here expressing a uniqueness, an individual aspect of the same point. And so, yeah, it's just that point of like, if you're standing responsible for yourself in your life, then I feel like shit will just like, floodgates can open and doors can open, and like, you're not a victim anymore. Life isn't like chaotic. Life isn't by chance. Life isn't a surprise as much. It's not going to catch you off guard. You're going to walk in your life knowing that everything is designed to support you and to reflect to you. So you're always face to face with yourself in every single moment. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a little out there. I can maybe ground it a little bit, but I do relate to that. I do relate to that, to realizing that nothing is by chance. Everything happens, I don't want to say for a reason, but maybe everything happens for a reason, and the reason is you. You know, like your life can be, you can see your life in such a specific way if you choose to look at it that way. Like, that's the thing too. It's all how you look at it. What are your beliefs about yourself in your life, and what are your beliefs about other people? And if you start becoming aware of that, you'll maybe see how life reveals that to you as what you say it is. And maybe if we can come to terms with what is actually real, we can start seeing reality for what it really is and who we are within it in terms of being creators. You know, like, how do we actually create our reality? Do we accept the idea that we create our reality, or do we think life just happens to us by chance? You know, who's calling the shots here? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm into it though. I'm into it. See you tomorrow.